G'day, my name is CJ from CJ Aussie Nerfer, and I do have to excuse of the poor lighting I have right here. I am relying on a lamp and sunlight. I'm running a generator. I've lost some power in this house, but that's not gonna stop me. I'm going to do a review of a new product that has been released once again by Worker, a product long awaiting for. The Terminator, aka the clear long shot that everyone freaking wanted. So let's explain about this product and how we got it to be. So the idea of this Terminator derived back when Worker released the the long shot Stefan kit, and ever since then everyone's like, let's just get a clear long shot. And Worker delivered. They're giving us a clear long shot. That's freaking what it is. First thing of note, it is fucking long. I excuse the language. It is fucking long. It's about 0.9 of a meters long, as a matter of fact. And the box is exactly the same length. So it just shows how long this thing is. For a single piece blaster, it is one piece, mind you. It is the longest blaster I've ever owned. I ever held, aside maybe from a Centurion once you connect the barrel. But this is freaking long. I believe what probably make this thing anything long would make this thing any longer would if you had scars or whatever you want to put at the end of this thing, which I don't know how. I'll get into it in a moment. From aesthetic perspective, it's unique. It's something that we've never had before. Like I said, it has a fixed Worker stock, fixed barreling, and a wacky magwell, which I've heard people say it's a bit weird, which I'm looking forward to. When I actually received this thing, where is it? There it is. When I received this thing, it does come with a lock. I've never heard of Worker doing this, but it's funny. But it's not that hard. It's easy to remove. Now, I haven't put all screws back in this thing. I've only put it in areas where it needs to be, just so it can function. But not all in. What's inside now? It has been mentioned there is some lack of compatibility. You can either only run a Worker Stefan kit or a brass breech with a Worker sled and slight trimming to the dark gate. Now, that's not that hard. I find that okay. As long as I can get a brass breech in this thing, that's the standard I want to put it at. But yes, artifacts, jet blaster, yeah, it won't work in this because of the feature that this comes with, an internal priming bar. Now, this is the reason why this is why it's been mentioned of a lack of compatibility, because it relies on two screws to be actually bolted into the sled in order for it to work, which is a slight disappointment, but you're gonna run a metal sled, you might as well go with it. Now, I've already assembled this thing together. I've already trialed this thing for at least a good 2 hours. I tell you right now, 2 hours is a freaking long time to test this thing. And it has come up with some significant shortcomings. First of all, the catch. Now, it does work. I'll give it that. It does work. However, I have occasionally come across an issue where the catch slips on its own. This is running with the included spring, and it's slipping, which is a real disappointment. And that leads to the next problem. The internal priming bar can't actually sustain a 16 kilo spring without, I'll show you right now, without, oh god, paranoia kicked in. Without assistance. That's disappointing. A real disappointment. I have never had this sort of a problem. On its own, I'll show you right now. On its own, it can't even get halfway. And that's a real disappointment. It would make my life easy. Because this blaster is actually the actual internals have actually come out from an Zeus, and I've never had a problem. Just an easy prime. this just doesn't want to work with it, and I'm disappointed. You know, I was really, really hoping for this blaster because it looks so freaking funny. It looks really awesome, but funny at the same time, and yet it just doesn't function. It doesn't function without needing assistance from the side. Now, it has been mentioned there is 3 ways of priming this thing: vertical foregrip, side like your long shot, and the bolt action, as you can see here. Now, I'm going to guarantee you with that side prime, with that bolt action prime, as I call it, anything more than a 10 kilo, it's not gonna cycle. Let's just leave it at that. With the side prime, yeah, that's guaranteed. That's gonna work regardless what spring load. With this internal prime, it doesn't work. It doesn't work beyond, I think, from the way it's behaving, I don't think it's gonna get past 13 kilo spring without some kind of assistance. Which is very disappointing. Now, I did say I was going to mention it later on, but the actual barrel is shorter than the length of the blaster. Now, it would be okay, providing if this was wide enough for it to put a scar in there and it wouldn't interfere. But the barrel is shorter, as you can see by the light, then I'm guaranteed that I'm going to make a bet that it's going to bounce around in that barrel before it's going to leave before it leaves the blaster. Which is a very disappointing result. Now, I'm not going to do a performance chroning of this thing because this is already a pre-used or a heavily used internals. So I know what it hits. It hits 230 to 240 FPS with this setup. But that being said, it is disappointing that it just has so many shortcomings. And to prove it that there's an issue with this setup, with the catch and the spring load, you can look at the trigger. It is not touching the catch until the very last second with a little nip. That's concerning because the catch is probably then sitting a little bit too far back. If it was sitting a little bit closer, I would say it's fine because it's then resting on just on the trigger, because that's how I like, because with the Exus, that's the same thing it does. It just sits on the trigger perfectly, but not pre-compression or whatever, but just sits. This doesn't, which is a problem. Also, I don't know what the hell are you gonna get this thing through. I mean, you have to put a string in there or something. That's supposed to be like, you know, where you connect your 1-point slings, 2-point slings, whatever. That is a thick clamping point, which is funny. Now, aesthetically, as me and Dean from Last Attack, this is where I got this from, have both agreed we don't like flat tops, and that is a flat top, even though it's got a little nudge there for, you know, aiming down sights. I like a bit of a riser to put my sights on. Comfort-wise, yeah, it's what you expect from a long shot, in its position, you know, its comfort and all that. And I will conclude this video with a price. Now, when I did purchase this was done in the pre-order. This is 160 Australian dollars, roundabout, if I can remember at the top of my head, plus $12 for the angle foregrip. Now, I wanted to do the review in the picture that we received from Worker, which is why I paid a little extra for that. Now, in its pre-order form, that's fine, like you're gonna to expect it. But I've heard from in the Worker's site that it is about the same price in US dollars. So to convert that to Australian, that's probably like maybe 200. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head how much they were selling it in store. Maybe it's just $160 with the internals. I couldn't find it exactly or where it was coming from. Is 160 Australian dollars really worth this kit slash shell? And now that I've tried it, tested it, and the hassle of actually getting this thing all together, I say it's not. I mean, the Exus is more than fair enough, and it only cost it only cost like 86 Australian dollars. Get a second-hand long shot for maybe like 50 Australian dollars, and it still works just fine. For this, it's a no, it's a pass. Now, I will still use it. I'll probably use it on the field, get everyone's opinion on it. But from my end, it's a pass. It's a no. it's just for what it is. It's just coming with shortcomings. You know, the catch is a little too far back. The priming bar is not strong enough to take on a 16 kilo spring without needing a side prime. And yeah, it's really is a disappointment. Now I know with a brass breech on an 8, a 10 kilo, maybe a 12.5, problem solved. But I'm reviewing it in the product that it is what it has been advertised for. What it is coming for, it is a pretty big disappointment. Yeah, that's the review. So if you have any comments or suggestions or anything that I might have missed or may have incorrectly said about the new worker Terminator, leave it in the description, in the comments below. Keep it civil, all right? I do take it quite serious on it. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you dislike the video, there is a dislike button there. Anyway, this is CJ from Aussie Nerfer, and I'll see you at the next video.